Your parents need to get in the bin. I'm shriveling up just thinking about it. Does that sound like a good parenting move? Do you want to keep your job? Some people, brain cells lacking. You're through to 1-800-DRAMA, the show where you share your biggest dilemmas and I help you navigate them. I'm Shaaba, and with your help,
and sometimes mine,
let's help people figure out if they are the drama, because sometimes you just need an outside perspective and we can all expand our own mindsets along the way. Are you ready to dive deep into the a-holes? Let's go. Hi peaches, it's Shaaba. Welcome back and thank you for clicking on today's episode. It's Monday and you know what that means. It's time for us, you and me, dear peach, to go fishing for a-holes. I don't know why. All of my intros just keep getting more and more deranged. Who's going to tell me to stop? You. Oh, great protector. This is Surfshark and the sponsor of today's episode. For those of you who don't know, Surfshark is a VPN, a virtual private network with over 4,500 servers all around the world, working really hard to keep you safe and at the same time giving you a whole host of other benefits. Things like a customizable content web blocker, an email scam checker that can integrate with Chrome and Gmail, protecting your sanity, and even things like the ability to unlock content libraries all around the world so you can watch your favorite shows even if they're not in your country. Shows like Hannah Montana.
Who don't know Hannah Montana? She's famous.
Right now, if you're watching this when the video's dropped, the 20th anniversary special has just come out. And even as a grown-ass adult, I cannot tell you how happy it makes me that they've done this. Have you been rewatching Hannah Montana ahead of it? If you haven't, no worries. Nobody's perfect. We all gotta work it. Sit down, let me recap it for you. So Hannah Montana is basically a Disney drag queen.
Look at you look gorgeous.
By day, she's this regular girl called Miley.
What?
Who has a perfect normal teen life full of angst and questionable crushes. But by night, she puts on this glorious blonde wig and nobody knows who she is. Girl science.
Say what?
She might even be a rock star. That was so bad, but we're keeping it in. No, we're not. In this one episode, Jackson, Miley's incredibly annoying older brother, clicks on this super dodgy phishing email because it promises a hot date with a girl. But of course it's all lies, and instead it tries to scrape all of Jackson's personal info from his laptop, including the real identity of Hannah Montana. Dun dun dun. But don't fret, because Miley has a new tour manager, Surfshark. Surfshark locked everything down, encrypting all of the family's data, and he even blocked the malware so that no one could track that Hannah and Miley are indeed the same person. Oliver said everybody makes mistakes and encouraged Miley to forgive him. Lily rode her skateboard as Surfshark rode the waves, and Miley, well, she took the limo out front, which coincidentally had inside this cute little QR code, the link surfshark.com/Shaaba, and the code Shaaba to use at checkout, to give to every Hannah fan, including you, Peach, watching this video, 4 extra months free of Surfshark VPN, so you too can keep safe and protected while surfing the web online. You get the best of both worlds. And that is exactly how Hannah Montana goes. And if you want to check the show out to verify it yourself, then remember that you too can use Surfshark VPN to access all shows on worldwide libraries no matter where you are. I've said this many times before, I've used Surfshark for years as a paying customer. I have it on my phones, my laptop, my computer, even my TV, because Surfshark can be used on an unlimited number of devices. And they even have a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you don't like it for whatever reason, there is no drama here. All the details for you to check out Surfshark further are downstairs in the description box, so get your little fuzzy butts down there. But for now, let's get on with the show. Hottest styles, every shoe, every color. Am I the drama for not lying about wetting the bed and embarrassing my parents? Oh, for not lying about wetting the bed. These sound like bad parents. You shouldn't be encouraged to lie. Let's see if we can help Opie out. Opie says, I am an 18-year-old woman and I had a weird week around Christmas where I was having a lot of nightmares and interrupted sleep. Oh my god, babe, same. I don't know if this is a Mercury in retrograde kind of thing. I don't follow horoscopes closely, but I have been having some weird ass nightmares recently. Very intense, very bizarre nightmares, which is really not like me. And I was asking Jamie, and he's had the same. And I'm speaking about it to 2 of my friends separately who have also had nightmares. So I don't know if there's some like nightmare sigma wave going on right now. But if you too, Peach, have had nightmares, let us know. Maybe we need to start some sort of detective club. Anyway, OP says, I've been having nightmares. I think what happened was that when I did fall asleep, I was sleeping really deeply because I woke up having wet the bed. Oh, hey, no judgment. Things happen. And especially from the title, it sounds like you need to be reassured that there doesn't need to be stigma about these things. Bodies will body. Body do what body do. Like, it's not your fault. You can't control it. And anyone who takes the piss out of you for it is not okay. No one's taking the piss out of you though. Let's see. I was like preempting. This was the thing that I used to do when I was stressed when I was little. Oh, and my parents always shamed me for accidents. Oh, well, even when you were teeny, when you were tiny squish? No, that's mean. There's a difference between teaching a kid that, you know, you should pop to the loo if you have control, which you can't when you are sleeping, and shaming them. Do you see what I mean? Like, teaching is not shaming, and like saying, hey babe, this is not fantastic. What's going on? Because I don't know how old you are, but maybe you're at an age where you shouldn't have really been wetting the bed, in which case, like, parents can say something, but they shouldn't be making you feel shame. Even during the day, they seem to view my needing the bathroom as a personal inconvenience. What? So they don't like the fact that you needed the loo, but then they were pissed off when you pissed the bed. What do you want, parents? You can't have your cake and eat it. Aye. So anytime it happened, I set an alarm to wake up early so I could do laundry and clean it up before they noticed anything. Imagine giving your kid a laundry complex. That is actually so sad to me. I have a couple of friends as OP that I'm really close with, and we were talking about how we were all very stressed with college applications. One of my friends admitted that her hair is falling out from stress. No! And we went around sharing more and more embarrassing things that have happened to us recently until I finally said jokingly, don't tell anybody, but I think I got stressed enough that I wet the bed. Oh, it's cute that you have a little social circle where you feel that you can vulnerably share that. And I also just love the idea that you're all facing different things and just like laughing about it and not shaming each other about it. Uni is a stressful time. Applying to uni is a really stressful time, and we are not in control. Like 99% of the time, we're not in control of how our bodies respond. My body's stress response is eczema. It's very annoying. I'm looking at my hand because I don't know if you can see, but I have the little dots on it right now. I have this thing called pomflux eczema, and it specifically pops up on my palms and my fingers, which is like a really painful place to get eczema, and only when my body is like deeply stressed. And I don't know when I'm stressed, which is funny because like this is saying I'm stressed right now. And it's kind of useful that my body is like, hey babe, you should take care of yourself. But also I don't know how. Like I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know what's stressing me out at the moment. But bodies do be bodying like that. You know, it's not something that you can control. And I'm living for this idea of a little stress club where you can share what's happened. And hopefully you're also sharing things like tips. Opie continues, it turns out that one of my friends told her mum when Opie said, don't tell anybody. That's so annoying. And that's such a breach of the circle of trust. Poo you, friend. Poo you. Oi, this is how your parents find out, right? Turns out one of my friends told her mum because she's worried about me, and her mum is a doctor, which is sweet. I don't know. I think it was misguided. Her mum called mine, and now my parents are really angry at me for embarrassing them by keeping a secret from them. What? I told them that I was embarrassed and afraid that they would punish me, and they said, you must not be that afraid because you're telling other people's parents. But you didn't know. Except I trust my friends, and honestly I trust their parents too. My friend's mum didn't yell at me, and when I went to her house she was really nice to me. I mean, yes, but this is not the point. The point is you did trust your friends not to tell anyone. Your friends did go and tell somebody else. But I hear what you're saying. The reason you didn't tell your parents is because they have not provided a comforting space for you to feel vulnerable enough to share that. And honestly, the fact that you shared something vulnerable and their response is, I'm angry at you because you embarrassed me, is like weird main character syndrome. Like, your kid is going through something, so much so that a friend's parent has called you to be like, hey, I'm a little bit concerned. I just feel like you should know. And instead of addressing the issue, instead of thinking, my kid's troubled right now, I should probably look into why an 18-year-old is wetting the bed, they're just piling more stress on top of you. Does that sound like a good parenting move? Truly, does that sound like an environment where going forward, you're going to help your kid be any way more comfortable sharing things with you? Some people, brain cells lacking. My parents have now told me that I'm not allowed to see that friend outside of school until I apologize to her mum for lying. So they now want you to lie about you wetting the bed. They told me to say that I was lying for attention, except I wasn't, and I'm refusing to start lying now. Your parents need to get in the bin. This is not okay. This is very not okay. So it really does seem like they have done everything a parent should not do. Not provided a comfortable environment, had a go at a child when when they found out that they were in need of help, is encouraging child to lie, and is increasing stress on child in multiple ways, by the way. Not just saying that you can't see this person, which, like, hello, they're 18. What's wrong with you? But also she's telling you that she's stressed, and you're adding more stress by making her ruin her reputation among her friendship groups as some sort of lying diva. I don't mean to broadcast on the internet that I wet the bed because I feel kind of like a baby, but I did, and I think it's my choice to tell whoever I want, as well as to tell the truth. So am I the drama? No. My godness, that's new. No, you are not the drama. Your parents are massive freaking moldy brownies, and I love the fact that even now you're embracing what has happened with this sense of nonchalance. This look, I kind of feel like a baby. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not feeling great about it, but it is what it is. Bodies do what bodies do, and it's up to me to tell people my story, and that is exactly the truth. I hope you continue not lying. I wish your parents growth, because what the like, seriously, what are they on? They need to pick up a parenting handbook. A small part of me wants you to be able to confide in your friends with this, and for your silly friend to go back and tell her parent so that she can know how crap your parents are and scold them, because that is bad parenting. No, I actually don't want that to happen to you, because I don't want the consequences of what could happen with your parents finding out that you shared that information. But this is my point. How horrible is it that you can't even seek solace with your friends? What kind of environment is that fostering? Why would you, as a parent, want that for your kid? Definitely not the drama. Your parents really need to pick up a parenting handbook, and they're lucky to have raised a kid so self-aware and so mature to be able to approach the idea of bedwetting in this way, and to have conviction and not be like, well, yeah, I should lie, because clearly you're doing something right. You're a good egg OP, and I'm sorry that you're having to go through this when you're already stressed. Oh, not the drama. I think you should go the malicious compliance route and do what your parents demanded. Apologize to your friend's mum and explain that your parents said that you embarrassed them and that they wouldn't let you spend time with her daughter again until you had told her that you were lying for attention. Then tell her about how you had to deal with your bedwetting issue as a child due to neglect and shaming. I doubt that she'll discuss your medical issues with your parents anymore, and will likely offer help to deal with your stress and your parents. Either that, or she will end up going back to the parents, and that would not put you in the best position. Well, to be fair, I think it depends. It's so contextually dependent. For some people, being confronted in that way could lead to genuine change, where they're like, you are right, we have been terrible parents. Oh my god, what were we thinking? But sadly, for many other people, it will just end up in more shame and sadness for the person that they're already not being very kind to. That's the problem when egos become front and center. Love that. But I do like the idea, and if I were in this situation, I totally would be saying to my friends what had gone on so that I would be able to get support from that side, because you need support from somewhere, OP, and you're clearly not getting it from home. Not the drama, and all of the adults here are awful. OP's friend can be forgiven for telling her mum, but how did a medical professional think that it was acceptable to blab third-hand gossip about an 18-year-old woman's health to her parents? I do get that. At the same time, if she didn't know that it wasn't okay to be shared, then I can get why she'd be like, oh, I'm worried for your kid. Or if she felt that she had a duty of care to override what this is a satirical quote, right? But this silly young teen who doesn't know better and absolutely deserves the support of her parents. I should absolutely tell them what's going on. They would want to know. They'll help her out. That's probably what she's thinking. Oh, we have a comment here from a urology nurse who says, what you are describing should be investigated with a sleep study. Not waking up when your bladder signals and you wet the bed is a sign that something else is going on. And also, for the love of godness, not the drama. Your parents are abusive for not further investigating why bedwetting has continued for as long as it has. I do just want to be a little bit careful with the word abusive, because I'm not saying this isn't a situation where it can be used, but we do need to make sure that we are not using it flippantly. Shaming a teen for wetting the bed is clearly wrong, and telling them to lie is clearly wrong. But abuse is a really very, very strong term, and I don't personally feel like we have enough nuance here with this story to be able to classify it as such concretely and confidently. But I absolutely get what this person is saying. And the second thing that I just want to bring up is I don't know if this has been an ongoing thing. I'm not sure if OP has suggested, and maybe I'm interpreting it wrong, but it doesn't seem that something OP has been dealing with ongoing. It seems like it was something that happened when she was little, and it's something else that's happened right now because she's experiencing stress. None of this is to placate the parents or to say that they are not wrong, because they are very clearly wrong for treating their kid how they are, but also in the same ways that bodies do be bodying, in the internet do be interneting, and language is a very powerful tool. But for the most part, totally agree with this comment. First of all, tell your friend and her mother the consequences of them talking when they should have kept silent. I totally agree, the friend in particular, but also the mum should know that they shouldn't be breaching confidentiality like this. I get it if you think that you're doing things in the best interests of someone else, but especially as a medical professional, right? Because Opie said that the friend's mum is a doctor, that's why she told her. You should understand confidentiality more than most, and especially confidentiality over what is objectively seen as a quote-unquote embarrassing medical issue. Because truly, lots of medical professionals will be dealing with young women who come in with medical needs and medical requirements that they do not want their parents knowing about, and for good reason. So it just seems silly to me that she would have done it, and also silly that the friend bloody went and blabbed. But I also understand if your mum's a medical professional and you were worried for your friend, why you would ask them. But this comment says the lack of sense has created a huge problem for you, and also not the drama. Not the drama, you are allowed to tell anybody that you want. It's not your fault that your parents are embarrassed, and it's stupid that they're telling you not to see her. You're 18, not 8. My son had this issue. It was a medical issue. He was missing the hormone that tells your kidneys to make less urine at night. Worth looking into. That's really useful to know and sharing here for anybody who may be experiencing the same. Bedwetting can be a sign of childhood trauma. Not the drama, because this should cause worry to your parents, not shame. That is a fantastic way to put it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's fine to show concern as a parent. Worry is okay. Shaming should never ever be okay. No good comes out of shaming your child as a teaching method. Learning, yes. Showing concern, yes. Not shaming. Best of luck to you though, OP. I'm sorry that this has caused you more stress, which is exactly what you didn't need right now. And I am hoping that not only are you able to set better boundaries with your parents and be like, I'm 18. Queens, you can't tell me who I cannot speak to with friends, especially when coupling that request with wanting me to be an unreasonable liar. But more than that, I also hope that you are able to solve whatever issue is causing you so much stress that you are wetting the bed. I'm really glad that you are able to not hold huge levels of stigma about it, where you can talk to your friends and open up. And I hope that you are still able to do that, despite the bad parenting that you have experienced. And whilst, of course, solving the bedwetting is important, especially if it's coming from a medical issue that is bigger, that's just putting paint on top of a building that's got some structural issues. I do think therapy might be a good idea so that you can solve the root of this issue too, and so the bedwetting doesn't become something that's a new norm for you whenever you get stressed as an adult. Wait, can I also remind you before we start the story that we are trying to hit a goal on this channel of 160,000 peaches in our little punnet. We are super duper close, and if you're not subscribed, because loads of people who watch this podcast are not actually subscribed over on YouTube, it is totally free for you to do and really helps us grow. So please do feel free to click that little sub button that's somewhere around here. This next one was cross-posted over to the 1-800-DRAMA subreddit, where Opie asks, am I overreacting about my nanny family doing the jiggy during the day? Ooh. Opie says, hi everybody. I'm a full-time nanny for a stay-at-home mum with an 8-month-old baby. Mama, baby. It's interesting to me because I've not really heard of stay-at-home mums having a full-time nanny. Not that I'm judging, it's just new. Opie says, the baby is honestly perfect. So sweet and happy, naps great. I've been with the family for about 7 months now. The mum and dad are both amazing employers. They are super nice to me. The mum gets me Starbucks and I don't know how to pronounce this. Acai bowls? Is that how they say it? In the trending food health worlds of TikTok? Acai? Acai bowls. And even makes me lunch sometimes. I make $32 an hour. Wow. With great benefits in a McCall area. So overall, this is a dream job. What is a McCall area? Should we find out?
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Oh, a medium cost of living area. This means that it strikes a balance between affordability and living expenses. There's also local, which is a low cost of living area. I imagine that means there's also a hookle. Oh, and there also seems to be a vehicle. That just sounds like vehicle. But there you go. Every day is a school day. So $32 an hour, great benefits, McCall area. So overall, this is a dream job. That sounds pretty cushy. Here is my only issue, says OP. I'm pretty sure that the parents are doing it during the dad's lunch break, maybe every day or every other day. Okay, so are they both stay-at-home parents? Is that what's happening? Like they are both at home, but dad's working from home and mum doesn't work? But also, how do you know this? I have so many questions. OP says they go to their room and I never see anything inappropriate. Good, because that would not be okay. But sometimes I hear what I think might be the bed moving. It's not loud or anything, just enough to make me realize what's going on. Afterwards, her hair is messy, her clothes are changed, that kind of thing. I don't know why I'm feeling like really uncomfortable about this post. Let's see where it's going. I just need to recap a little bit what was just said. So they go to their room. I've never seen anything inappropriate. Sometimes I hear what I think might be the bed moving. Not loud, just enough to make me realize what's going on. And then she comes out, she's not like well kept, that sort of thing. Today I asked the mum what she was up to when she came out the room. You did not. Do you want to keep your job? What are you doing? And she didn't really say much. I kind of jokingly said, oh, were you napping? And she got a little red and awkward. That pretty much confirmed it for me. Why would you say such a thing? I see this a lot when people come into work environments which are not the typical office environment. If it's not an office 9 to 5 kind of job, yes, there's of course still a need to be professional, but there's nuance. I feel like I use that word almost every single freaking episode, but there is nuance all the time about what makes a workplace environment professional, especially when it is a home. And honestly, even if this is what has happened, because right now it is still an assumption, the idea that you can hear something moving, like a bed moving, and she's coming out a little bit unkept. Like, if I was a stay-at-home mum, I am not going to be dressing up to be walking around my house. If I'm sat on the bed reading, my hair's gonna look messy when I get up and walk out of my room. Like, I don't know, I just think it's a bit weird that you're like thinking about it in this much detail. And I'm trying to think, if they're not making it obvious, if they're not saying something, they are in the privacy of their own home, and you are a full-time nanny. Wait, does that mean that you're an au pair? Like, does that mean that you live in the property or you just work during work hours? Because maybe that's some more information that we need. But especially if you are a live-in nanny, what do you expect? Like, you're in their home. It is not up to you to dictate how other people spend their time. They're not being unreasonable about it. They're not leaving doors open for you to see anything. If this is what they are doing, they're not being particularly loud. I'm just finding it a little bit weird that you're like listening in, right? Oh, I think knowing something like that is one thing, but asking, like confronting about it when you know what was going on, like a question like, oh, were you napping? That would make me feel so uncomfortable. I wouldn't want you to be here anymore. Especially if you said it like as a joke, like tone is so important, but if you're like, oh, were you napping? Like, that is just weird. You don't do that. OP says, I know they're married adults and it is their house. Full stop. End of. But it still makes me feel a little uncomfortable since I'm there taking care of their baby. They're not being disrespectful or obvious, but it just feels weird. Would it therefore be totally out of line to ask them not to do that whilst I'm working, or am I overreacting and should I just let it go? They really are such a great family and I don't want to make things awkward if it's just me being overly sensitive. I would not say anything. I would be accepting the fact that you're at somebody else's home. And in my mind, I'm still under the impression, maybe this is wrong, that you are there for a long time. They have a nanny so that they don't need to look after the child, to pass on the responsibilities of looking after a child so that they can do other things, and it is not up to you at all to know what those other things are. And how friggin' awkward would it be if you said something, like brought up something, and that wasn't even what was happening? I'm shriveling up just thinking about it. And I don't think they have to carry the same standard of professional, because obviously you wouldn't like get intimate in an office workplace, but this is their home. And especially, to be honest, thinking about the idea of au pairs, the people who like live in a house, it is fine for you to do anything personal, be that reading or making Lego or anything else, in the comfort of your space, as long as you are not exposing other people to it. In that au pair kind of situation, you're gonna have to be there whilst people are doing any sort of thing. And I understand, you know, like maybe mentioning it to your partner when you get home, or being like, this thing happened and I didn't know how to approach it. But I do think that specifically asking, and if it was in the joking tone that my head is hearing it as, I just think you've made things really awkward and I wouldn't push on it anymore. I certainly wouldn't bring anything up. You like your job, they're not being rude, they're doing personal things in their personal spaces, and I think you should just personally leave it be. Well, I just fell over a little bit. Am I wrong for thinking that? I feel like the internet could have a very different reaction right now. Let's see. You were way out of line confronting MB, the mum, because you suspected the married adults may have taken advantage of what they expected to be private time to do private things. Really, OP, the kids are napping instead of taking a break or focusing on cleaning up or preparing for knuckers? What is with these abbreviations? New kids, maybe? New kids activities. You were being creepy, eavesdropping, listening for bed creaks, right? Generating offences that they might have, probably did, enjoy a private, intimate, mutual activity in the most private space in their private home. You are the problem, the whole problem, and nothing but the problem. Someone else says, babam, 100%. I cannot imagine saying anything. This gives me the ick more than anything. Gross. I wouldn't have been so harsh with my comment in that way, but I am glad to see that I'm not the only one thinking that it's a little bit weird to like want to say something. And we're all adults here. We get it. Things happen in a house. How do you think they got a baby in the first place? Someone somewhere was doing something. So I'm not saying this in a way to try and be naive. I'm just genuinely saying the amount of times that Jamie and I, during our workday, because we both work from home, are in the bedroom bedroom, not doing intimate things, but just having lunch in there, reading a book in there, because soft offices are such a glorious, wonderful thing when you are feeling sad and not very productive. We'll call our sofa or our front room the soft office. Or maybe you've just had a walk around the house, or you've just had lunch or whatever, and you're going in there to just chill for a bit. Maybe, like us, the cats are in there, and you just want to hang out with your little kitty cats for a little while because they really like the bed. If we had a nanny in this house, they might think because the bed moved and I would have like leant on my bedspread whilst reading a chapter of a book that my hair was funny or whatever. But regardless of whether I was or was not doing something, the point is, it is not your position to think. As long as I am not making any of my activities very obvious in a way that makes you incredibly uncomfortable, it's none of your business. Now, why would you ask her what she was doing there? I would think you were a big weirdo. I love the energy of this comment. It makes me so happy. This comment is exactly the person that I aspire to be, and I couldn't agree more. I too would think that you were a big weirdo. I would initially, especially if I was doing intimate things, I would feel embarrassed and I'd feel taken aback, but then I would say, oh my god, you'd never guess what just happened. I was just asked by blah 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 if I was napping in like a suggestive tone. And then when that first wave of embarrassment left, I would definitely be talking about how inappropriate and unprofessional it was that someone would have said something, but also that they would have been like listening out. And that's not the kind of feelings that you want to have for someone who is doing something as vulnerable as looking after your kid. Why are you involving yourself in anybody else's intimate life? If they were having full-blown gorilla, shaking the foundations, maybe you'd have a case. You'd definitely have a case then. If the door was open, if they were being excessively loud in any way, or maybe excessive is the wrong word, intentionally loud in any way, that would not be okay. But a creaky bed and some messed up hair doesn't qualify as your problem. You crossed a line by questioning her about it afterward. You made that weird, not them. It doesn't matter if they're up there hand carving things out of aged Gouda. Oh, what is that image? Oh, get out of my brain. What happens in the bedroom of two consenting adults is none of your business, and that goes for friends, employees, or strangers. And I'm just adding there that again, it could be that they were just stroking their kitties, which is absolutely a thing that full-blown adults do during the middle of the day when they work from home. I cannot be the only one. It is their house. You cannot ask them not to do that. Right? Even away from the fact that it was a weird thing to do, just think about that nature of that request. What are you saying? You can't do personal things? You can't do things in a house that you would need to do that you wouldn't do in a workspace? Does that mean that you can't take a shower? Does that mean that you can't have an argument? Does that mean that you can't cook? Like, at what line does personal things that you do in your own home become too personal to somebody else? Surely that barrier just feels incredibly arbitrary. As long as you are not involving that person or exposing that person to what you're doing, it shouldn't be down to them what happens in your own home. Can you take the baby out for a walk during that time or something so that you're not so fixated on what they might or might not be doing? That's a really good and useful piece of advice that OP can use going forward. I love that. Or put on some headphones or pop the telly on and pop the volume up. But whatever you do, don't pry. Don't look into it more. It's just a bit odd. You are 10,000% overreacting, friend. It is so hard for parents to find time to be intimate, to be happy for them that they still have such regular connection after having babies. I have coordinated with NPs, new parents, to ensure that they get time to do things like that because they just don't get a chance otherwise. That's very sweet. It's interesting how so many of these comments think that OP is the drama. I totally expected this to be the other way around. Let me see if there's anybody who does not agree with that same opinion. Or maybe I'm in the minority, says somebody, but it would make me uncomfortable. I definitely don't think it's your place to say anything to them or comment on it. Making comments like, oh, were you napping, or anything like that indicates that you know something's out of line, because there's nothing wrong with what they're doing if it's done discreetly, and it only makes things awkward. You know what? I actually really appreciate this comment. What it's saying is, I too would be uncomfortable, but I also recognize and acknowledge that it's not my place to say something. And it's so true that both of these things can be true. I really appreciate that as a point. I'm not encouraging or saying that to me something like that would make me uncomfortable, but I do think that depending on our own life experiences, and that's a wonderful thing about this podcast, I know I often say it, but like, we're exploring these moral areas, these grey areas, where often whether something seems right or wrong or comfortable or not comfortable depends on the life experience that you have had growing up, and there is no one answer that is right. I think for someone like me who doesn't hold a lot of stigma around topics of things like intimacy, it wouldn't bug me. But that's not to say that somebody feeling uncomfortable about that, or who does hold that level of stigma for a whole myriad of potential reasons, that person's feelings are not less valid in any way. Uncomfort would be reasonable, but what's not reasonable is acting on that in a way that seems really incredibly unprofessional when you are working in someone's home full time. Parents, a couple, a married couple who have a bedroom, when you're looking after their kids so that they can have like time for themselves to do whatever it is that they might be doing. Best of luck though, OP. The forums provided some great advice on other things that you can be doing. I think the general consensus is that it would be bizarre to dictate how somebody else uses their own home. But ultimately, if you're uncomfortable, it's up to you to decide if the cushiness of this job is worth that or not. And that's a choice that only you can make. This final submission is from a fellow Peach over at the 1-800-DRAMA subreddit. If you have a drama yourself that you would like the Peaches to help you out with, that we might even explore right here on the podcast, then please feel free to head over to 1-800-DRAMA. Or if you would like to help other Peaches out who are posting dramas by giving them advice yourself, then please do that. I love to see it. I've been seeing a few memes on there. I've been seeing your very cute and kind comments. I've been seeing just how grateful Peaches are to have a space on an advice forum that's typically much kinder than other pockets of the internet, shall we say. And right now, this Peach asks, am I the drama for texting my dad happy birthday in the afternoon rather than the morning? This sounds so trivial. It's actually made me grumpy. Not at Peach, but at the idea that whatever situation that you are in, the timing of a birthday text has been something that is genuinely causing drama. Enough drama for someone to feel like they need to come to an internet forum for advice. That doesn't sound healthy. Let's see if we can help Peach out. For context, I'm 26 and currently living with my mum and siblings. My mum and dad divorced when I was 3 and he moved abroad, but we've always been close despite that. He now lives with my stepmum, who I have a difficult relationship with, but rarely ever see. My father's birthday was on the 28th of December. On that day, I was busy with family stuff, as we had some drama between my mum and my younger half-sister, who has a different dad, that I was helping to mediate. But around 5 p.m, I sent my dad a text wishing him a happy birthday and saying that I hope he had a lovely day. Basic birthday stuff. All is sounding fine so far, except for the fact that your family seems to have a lot of drama. I'm sorry, but I hear you. We have a little chat and everything is fine. I noticed after that my stepmother had also sent a text earlier reminding me that it was my father's birthday in case I'd forgotten. The rage that I am feeling. So sensing the drama on the horizon, I wrote back explaining that I hadn't forgotten. I just sent him a text and thanking her for the reminder regardless. She sends a quick reply and all is well. I'm glad that it didn't escalate into anything more, and that is exactly how I have handled this in the past. The amount of times that I've told certain family members and continue to have to tell them because they don't freaking listen to not do that, because it puts that person in a really awkward place. If I want to send a message to someone, I will send a message to someone. If I want to call someone, I will call someone. If I haven't sent a message or called someone, you, third party not involved in the situation, makes things more difficult by saying, hey, call this person, hey, text this person, because now, especially when you, third person, goes around and tells said person that you reminded me to do that, now that person's only going to think that I did it because you told me to, not because I wanted to, when my whole intention is to do that anyway. This actually happens quite frequently to me, and it's very annoying because in those moments I go from actually wanting to speak to someone to now not wanting to speak to someone because I don't want them to think that I'm only doing it because I've been reminded or forced to or told to. And then even if you bring it up and go, oh, by the way, so-and-so sent me a text to tell me to message you today, but know that I was going to do it anyway, that just sounds like you're lying. Or maybe it doesn't, but especially in my family where I've been branded a liar so much because manipulative assholes will be manipulative assholes. I'm so primed to other people thinking that I am lying. The whole thing just pisses me off. Sorry, I feel like I'm being like quite ranty and I don't mean to be, but Peach, I relate to how frustrating this is, and I want anybody else listening to this who may also be able to relate to know that you are not alone in the rage that you experience, because it is just really freaking annoying. And breathe. Peach says, 3 hours later, I get another text from my stepmother in a very aggressive tone. Surprise, surprise. She thinks that because I sent the text in the afternoon instead of in the morning, as is normal in bunnies, I'd clearly forgotten, and that she doesn't tolerate BS. Disappointing. I'm very shaken by the tone of this text, but I let things cool and I reply a few hours later. You sound so mature, Peach. A brownie badge for you. Because truly, I don't have time for things like this anymore. I would just not end up responding, and the fact that you're responding and also thanking her for the reminder is more kindness than your stepmom seems to deserve. I calmly explained that even if I had forgotten, I would much rather have apologised and gotten it over with, and that I don't appreciate the tone that she has taken over what I see as a very simple matter. Go you. That is so mature. Just as she won't tolerate BS, I won't tolerate being spoken down to. Yes! I admit I get cheeky. And I quote an earlier argument where she said she doesn't give a damn what I think of her, but I wish her all the best, and I tell her that I'd rather not have this kind of interaction with her in the future. Yes, I like the little bit of pettiness. I approve of the little bit of pettiness, because especially when when someone's being rude like this, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like, stay in your lane, stepmom. You clearly don't like this person. Why on a birthday as well, right? This is your dad's birthday. Why is she making this about her? Why not just let your dad have his birthday? If he's angry, he could say that he's angry. At this point, what I would be doing, perhaps you have already done this, I'm just explaining this is what I would do, is I would be calling my dad and saying, hey, Sheila seems to be very annoyed that I didn't send the message at this time. I'm sorry. I was busy dealing with another family issue. I do wish you happy birthday. Are you upset about this? And if dad's like, no, because why would he be? Then you can text back stepmom and say, this is a you problem. He's fine. Off. And also, I would not be doing this on dad's birthday. I'd be doing it afterwards, just to not try and be two main character myself. The next day, Peach says, she sends an even more inflammatory text. She just does not give up, telling me this whole situation speaks volumes about my lack of empathy and caring. Ah yes, the lack of empathy and caring you have, which is why you were able to send a text. Oh. She says that my dad is very upset that I didn't bother to wish him a happy birthday. She goes to say that she has no idea who I am as a person these days. I think it's a jab at my transition. Oh, and that it saddens her that our history means nothing to me. Maybe when I grow up or when one of them dies, I'll see things differently. Wow. You can see the exact kind of manipulative this person is. She calls me overly self-interested and ends by saying, leave home, get a job, pay bills, and see what life is actually like. At this point, I would like to note that I currently have a job. I've worked several part-times before, sometimes 2 at once, and that I'm paying for my own master's degree. Oh my god. Later, I get another text from my aunt, hitting some of the same points, that my dad's upset and that one day they will die and I'll regret my actions, albeit in a far less condescending tone. This is ridiculous. And do you know what else it is? The hallmark of a toxic family, where small things that really shouldn't be an issue end up being an issue. I was just talking to Lucy about this. We did a podcast episode where we were discussing something similar. When good things like celebrations, like gift giving, become more politics, become so heavy that you are stepping on eggshells in order to fulfill it in this certain way to do it right, something has gone terribly wrong. Birthdays are supposed to be a happy occasion. Saying I love you to someone, I'm thinking of you and I hope you're having a good day, should be a happy occasion. And anyone who is making that not a happy occasion because of something so unreasonable as waiting a few hours before you send a text is clearly the problem. This is not a you issue, Peach. And the fact that it's become this, I know it now, mountain out of a molehill. You proud of me? I remembered. Shows that your family deals with these things in such unhealthy ways that they become way bigger than they need to be. But honestly, if your dad has an issue with this, and I definitely think that's something that you should check in on, especially now that you've heard it not just from stepmom, but also your aunt as well, you should, for your sake, figure out if it's stepmom that's bringing other people involved in this, or if it's dad that's bringing other people involved in this. Regardless, your dad should be the one having this conversation with you. If it's something that he was pissed off about, he should be saying something to you. And even if this is something that he's pissed off about, I would need from him a really good understanding as to why he's being so upset over something so unreasonable. It could be that he's feeling neglected. Maybe you've given him reason to feel neglect. Maybe other people have given him reason to feel neglect, but he's taking it out on you in this situation in an unfair way. I'm hoping that having that conversation and you explaining, I was busy. My morning was so preoccupied with other drama that I didn't want to be involved in. And as soon as I had capacity to, I messaged you a happy birthday. Why is me messaging you a happy birthday turned into something sad? This saddens me. What is this about? How can anyone, any reasonable person, be able to take offense to that? That right there is evidence to me that you are not the problem. Peach finishes the post by saying, at this point, I hadn't heard from my dad at all, so I sent him a voice text, almost in tears, telling him that I didn't mean to upset him, that I hadn't forgotten his birthday, and that I honestly didn't think that sending his birthday text a little late would be an issue. And you know what this does as well? You know what really frustrates me? It makes it really awkward to do this again. The next time that you send a birthday text to your dad, for however many years to come, he is going to be sat there thinking, this is only coming because of what happened last time, not because it's genuinely coming from the heart. And that, to me, would make me really freaking sad. Like, why would you want to manufacture something like that? I don't understand. Anyway, what did your dad say? He finally contacts me and says that it's best to move on and forget this. I don't like that as a response. We're having a chat today to sort it out, but the whole thing has left me feeling rather raw and questioning whether I've actually done something wrong and just not realised it. I would appreciate the outside perspective. You're not the drama, OP. I really, really do not think that you're the drama. I would be interested to hear your dad's point of view, because I do think saying we should move on and forget about this doesn't give you any kind of closure. Other people are not moving on. Other people are not forgetting about this. Other people are saying that you, dad, have a problem. So when you are then asked directly, being in the centre of this mama drama, you don't get to just say, we should move on. We should forget about this. No, you need to explain the point. And the only way that you are able to move on without explaining thing is if you are not the one that's caused this drama, if this has come from other people and this was no part of yours. If you're saying, look, I have not got an issue with this at all, I didn't voice an issue with this, I think we should move on and just forget about this, that I totally understand. But if dad did have an issue, you need to explain that issue, because that issue has been slapped in the face of your kid, and you, who has instigated said slapping by making it an issue, should explain to your kid, because they have a right to know where this issue has come from. But as I said, I really don't see any world in which this is a you issue. At most, if dad is upset, I think it's because he's going to be feeling neglected from other ways, and he's tarnishing you with the same brush. But again, a conversation explaining why you didn't do it in the morning should hopefully help this out. I should also point out, I am a neurospicy peach. It sometimes takes me 4 hours to remember that I need to brush my teeth in the morning when I'm just on my laptop getting on with work. And I definitely think that that will be biasing my opinion, because I can absolutely hear some people being like, it's a text, it takes 10 seconds. Yeah, to some people. But to other people, remembering, getting yourself in a position where your phone is in your hand and the conscious thought of, oh, I should message my dad right now. At the same time, that doesn't always just take 10 seconds. There are 101 little distractions that can happen before that compatibility and those 10 seconds take place. Not the drama, says one peach. Your stepmom is antagonizing you because she wants to cause drama and she's controlling. Your dad is not a fragile 5-year-old child with attachment issues, but he's sure acting like one. She's not his mother. The whole dynamic between them sounds weird and a little bit icky. Leave them to it. You did nothing wrong. There is no rudeness attached to the timing of a birthday text unless you're dealing with very petty, controlling people. Yes. The biggest mic drop for that last sentence. It is petty. It is controlling. And the result of being controlling in this way just leads to these messages being sent without the intention that they should be sent with. I really wish some people would understand that. Oh, everybody sucks here, but you only a very tiny bit. No need to beat yourself up about it. We all just live and learn. The biggest share of drama goes to your stepmom and aunt. Moldy brownie badge to them. Whilst it would have been better to send birthday wishes in the morning so it didn't look like you'd forgotten the day, your stepmom and aunt's responses are absolutely beyond the pale. It's understandable that something like a family drama would put your mind somewhere else. It's not like you were being malicious. I personally don't agree with this badge, but I totally respect it. I can see some people wanting and expecting birthday messages in the morning. I'm not that kind of person, so that's why it's not holding value to me. But does it hold value to some people? Seemingly so. And that's okay, because we are not all one person, and the world would be a very boring place if we were. Not the drama. I don't think this is about a birthday text. Your stepmom seems to be bothered about something else, and it's important to uncover what that is. It sounds like she holds a narrative that you don't care enough, or at least in the way that she wants you to. Rather than focusing on just the text, it could be good to talk about how she feels your relationship is in general. It could also be good to set boundaries, that she doesn't get involved in your relationship with your dad. If he's upset with you, then he can communicate that directly with you. Big yes. This triangulation is going to help nobody. It sounds like your dad might be conflict avoidant, so maybe she's used to speaking up for his feelings on his behalf. It's a tricky cycle to disrupt. I know he actually responded to this one and said, I feel like you've hit the nail on the head here. Ever since I came out, our relationship has deteriorated and my stepmom, Freudian slip? Maybe. My stepmom in general is known for walking over people and not respecting boundaries. My relationship with my stepmom has become a hugely negative part of my relationship with my dad, and I think this interaction is a stark example of that. Quite possibly, and only you and the future conversations that you have will be able to really unpack that and understand that. But one thing that I will say, and that I think this peach has mentioned so eloquently, so beautifully, is that your dad definitely seems to be conflict avoidant, and that this triangulation does not help anybody. Your dad definitely has a portion of the drama here to take accountability for. Not the drama, says another peach, but for future reference, don't take the bait. You said it yourself, you don't have the best relationship, and those first 2 messages were intended to make you argue. Just type, okay, thanks for letting me know, and that way she's left without any moves to make you the bad guy. I can understand being annoyed with those moves and ignoring the urge of sniping back being difficult, but you don't owe her any explanation. Focus on dad, like when she says your dad's upset, send a voice message to him, like the one that you did, or just call him. But I would minimize contact with the stepmom. This is such great advice in my opinion, and whilst on paper it absolutely is the right thing to do, I understand that it can be tricky to actually follow through in person, especially when you feel like you need to defend your honor, when you're just trying to do something right to let these people get away with saying things. It can hurt, but ultimately it is the best way to protect your mental health. Oh, and we have an update from OP. My dad and I talked it out and decided to put all of this behind us. As some of you correctly said, this is about more than just a birthday text. Whilst I was taking it as fairly standalone, my dad and stepmom took it as just one more thing and a huge pile of, it seems like you're a different person now. We're not okay with that. My dad was unaware that either my stepmom or my aunt texted me after my birthday text, and with my stepmom in particular, he's burying his head in the sand, saying that he prefers not to know what she did because it will hardly do any good. You know what doesn't do any good? Her sticking her face in where she's not supposed to. Disappointing for me, as I really wish that he'd stand up to her more, but we've decided to try our best and assume good intention from each other in the new year. If this is what feels most comfortable for you, if this is a resolution that you feel best equipped coped with, considering the realities of the people involved in your life, then good for you. If, however, you want to set more boundaries, then just know that's something you are very within your rights to do. I wish you the best of luck, Peach. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. If you enjoyed it, maybe consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing if you'd like to see more. We're trying really hard to hit that 160k goal, so if you can help make that happen, I'd be very grateful. And if you're listening to this over on a podcast platform, you can rate the podcast out of 5 stars too. Any kind of engagement really helps. And remember that Surfshark is there for your VPN needs. You can check out more in the description box below. For now, I will love you and leave you. Be kind and have a great day. Bye.